Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm David Steele and here's my truck. Let's take another quick look at this. Today we're back in the Renault Premium and I am not entirely feeling 100%. In fact, the last video was just me driving around in this very same truck without any narration because I just really wasn't feeling up to it. Well, I decided I would squeak through this one, although I might not be doing so much talking. Turn left here. We're going to go and pick up a cargo today. It's a boat. Well, actually it's a luxury yacht, but it's a boat, and I like boats. Okay, let's talk a little bit about what we've got going on here. So yes, we're in a Renault Premium again. This is a 4x2. Quick wheel cam shot here. What a beauty. And under the skin, we've got an 11-litre MIDR engine. I forget the exact designation. I think it's I don't recall what it is. And I want to go straight ahead here, and this traffic's turning left. But anyway, perhaps we'll be able to get through. Right, let's see if we can pull in front of Mr. Logistica here on the right. Please let me through. That was a little close. That was even closer. So don't drive when you're not feeling well, boys and girls. Also, other genders are available. Oh, red light. Right. Let's not drive for a second and try and explain what's going on in the hood. And can I even see the traffic light here? There we go. Right. So it's an 11-litre MIDR engine. That is the... you know what? I forget what it's exactly called, but it's a motor something something, and the R stands for Renault. Basically, it's Renault's heavy-duty truck engine family. And this is the 11-litre. I've said that about 5 times. This is the 381 horsepower version, so 381 horsepower. Drum roll. And 1700 newton meters of torque. Now we're using a 9-speed Renault manual today, but I'm driving this automated for the most part because I'm not really at my best. Oh. No, don't go there. Go here. Good grief. Was I not supposed to go then? I guess I wasn't. Let me just check the horns work. Yeah, okay, the horn still works. Yeah, don't drive when you're not feeling great. So anyway, yeah, we've got a 9-speed Renault transmission. It's an overdrive. It's a 410 final drive and a 0.75 top gear, which means it's a little short, but it should be well suited to driving along at 80 kilometers per hour. We're doing about 1300 revs, I think, at that speed. This engine vintage is 1996, so not the most modern, but it's from a time when engines were starting to be downsped. This thing produces its peak torque, if I remember correctly, it's 1200 RPM, and the Mac engine that were rebadged MIDR was 1300 RPM. So it's right at the sweet spot of its power band. Hold up on here. Boy, it's all over the place here, David. So it should be a quite workable speed down there. Speed down. There we go, 50. Right. It should be quite a workable combination. That's interesting. 1500 revs at 50 kilometers per hour in 6 gear. Let's try 7th. Will it do 7? No. Okay. So it should be quite workable. And this truck, when I spec'd it out, I wanted it to be easy to drive. So that, a 9-speed's pretty useful there. The 9-speed is configured as an 8 plus a crawler gear or a low gear. And that means you can drive it like an 8-speed. You use the very lowest gear if you have to move off with a heavy cargo. Now Yacht's not particularly heavy. There's something like 21,000 pounds if memory serves me correctly. And so what that means is we may not need to use the crawler gear. It's probably going to, but we may not need to. Well, I suppose thinking about it, if you need it, it'll use it, but Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, we're in Greece. Yeah, there's the latest map. Was available, I think a couple of months ago now, possibly even earlier than that, but I'm thinking June. And I didn't buy it straight away. I wasn't playing ETS even all that much at the time. But now I'm back. I'm back with ETS, so I picked it up. It seems awfully confusing. I'd love to get a shot of this, but I'm not going to get a screen image or a media photograph right now. So I don't think today's route's going to be particularly exciting, but it's felt like a few days since I've driven in ETS and ATS, and that's what kind of happens when I don't feel well. I just don't. But I had some feedback on the Steel Productions engine pack that my last update had caused some of the man engines to just corrupt and crash. And so I'm like, you know what, I'm going to have to run the game just to test that. So I did, and I'm like, well, I should probably drive. And I'm like, you know, maybe I could do a video. I mean, how hard can it be? Well, the video bit's fine, but it's the audio that might be a challenge. We'll see. Sorry, Audi. Sorry, not sorry. There's me little. Oh, it's a little yacht. I would say it's a luxury yacht, but it's little. Dinky. It's a little short. Yeah, and the yacht owner has entrusted. No, I suppose the yacht owner hasn't entrusted me. The haulage company has entrusted me. The dispatch has entrusted me to pick up this yacht and not damage it. Yeah, we'll see how well that goes. Okay. So I gave the Premium a single horn on the top there. I didn't bother with dual horns, and she's got the stock sun shield, so it's that sort of see-through, I would say acrylic or perspex maybe. I don't think it's glass. It might be, I don't think it is. Just drop the ride height. Close enough, there we go. Right. The ride height back to normal. Look at that Muriel up ahead. That's pretty. Let's do a quick tug test. So trailer brake on. Put it in gear first. Trailer brake on. Let's try. Yeah, I would say that we're actually in. It's working fine. So if I use the right alt, right key combination. That's interesting. Look at this. Try that again. So trailer brake on. Look at the angle dangle on the front wheels, and it's starting to just spin its wheel a little bit. Okay, enough of that. That's probably not kind to my clutch. I think this is a World of Trucks run. Yes, it is. So I don't have to worry too much about keeping to a time here. I can take it easy, take it steady. Okay, I'm actually going to switch to manual control of the gearbox, I think. Because seeing as it is a manual, I may as well do it. I mean, how hard can that be? Might learn to regret saying that. Okay. So that's me in first gear. I wonder if we can move off in first effect. Let's try first. Yeah, first is completely fine. It doesn't need the crawler gear if it's not a hill. Gingerly ease out here. See anything from the left? Check on the right. Yeah. Oh, there's something there. I don't know what that is, but I'm right in the driving lane here now. Oh, it's a dust car, or a rubbish truck. Okay, managed to avoid the curb so far. So far, so good. I haven't damaged this very expensive yacht. Okay, let's try and be mindful of the revs to conserve a little bit of fuel. Get cruise control on because we're doing 30 kilometers per hour. I'm going to take this a little steady. But I'm also going to take a sip of coffee, so bear with me 1 second. That's good coffee. Plus it'll soothe my throat. That's my theory anyway. Okay. Let's take my speed off here. I don't like the way that this road seems to just narrow. A little abrupt with the controls. I think I'm going to change the sensitivity of the controls for Euro Truck Simulator 2 because the cab overs seem a bit of a handful if you're ham-fisted, and I think with a bit more subtlety in my controls I won't drive like such a noob. Might do. But at least it'll be definitely something I did. Ooh, I guess we go left here. Yes. Okay, I think so. A little tight there on the right hand side, but I think we missed everything. And this game is running with a good dose of jank right now. That's how you can tell it's on one of the newer maps, is it doesn't perform as well. Alright, let's give it lots of power here. That's full power, and we'll shift up to 5th, there we go. And it's just about doing, yeah, okay, it's pulling it in 5th. Good, because I didn't really fancy having a downshift just to slow down and turn left. Oh, that's handy. Managed to catch that, but still had to downshift a couple of times. Okay. And it does feel like I'm making a bit of a mess of this, but I know I'm not driving at my finest right now. Now, and if any cheeky beggar says, "How can we tell?" in the comments, yeah, you're probably right there. But I feel like I don't have my normal confidence about that. Let's just put it into 7th gear at 50 kilometers per hour. So how badly does it pull at this speed? Oh yeah, it pulls, but not great. Well, the 11-litre MIDR is an older engine. It's like I say, it's more of a classic truck engine. It needs a few revs. The modern stuff that really doesn't need many revs at all to perform. It's got a lot more torque low down. But I've still set up the gearing to be reasonable if I want to be doing 56 miles an hour or 90 kilometers per hour. That's the plan. And this kind of truck will be used more for a regional haul. Whether you would really go with an 11-litre, nearly 400 horsepower engine for this truck, I think it would be sensible. But part of me would rather just go with a 10-litre, 300 horsepower because I like to trouble myself. So I whacked cruise on to 80 kilometers per hour, and I'm just tackling these corners like I've got nothing behind me, which might be a mistake, but I'd say so far it's doing okay. I don't have a retarder on this transmission, which means I've got to just be a little careful with my speed. So we'll ease off here. I reckon this is too slow for top gear. Let's drop down a cog. There we go. Okay. Yeah, and we're turning off anyway, so. So I think using something like this that's a bit more powerful than the 300-ish horsepower, and go up to something close to 400, and use a manual transmission and with fewer gears, is technically more of a challenge than some of the either a less powerful truck, because simply being in a less powerful truck, there we go. You tend to have much shorter gearing. Okay. Just making a bit of a mess of this, trying to narrate what I'm doing. But with this amount of power, you've not got enough to be able to really pull yourself out of any wrong gear mishaps. Especially with this much torque, it's not that massive amount. So it shows all of your faults, but it's challenging and it's rewarding when you get it right. I'll let you know how rewarding it is when I get it right. Okay, so straight over the next lights.
Go straight.
And then right at and just before the bridge. Copy that. handbrake there. Change down to third. Is third going to be good enough? I think so. Oh, a little bit too fast. Messed that one up, David. Okay. I did not need to stop, but there we go. Also didn't want to bounce it up over the curbs. Okay, so I'm using 2000 RPM to climb this hill. Then lift off, change gear, back on the power, and yep, caught it at 22 kilometers per hour in fourth gear. Okay. Right, let's ease over left. Get my speed up to 80 kilometers per hour. There we go, that's cruise on resume. And we'll take a sip of coffee as we get up to speed and go through the gears. I'm trying not to cough. We're going through a tunnel.
Keep right. You're going to exit right.
Oh, I have an exit here as well, okay. Quickly we pick up speed going down a hill, but let's change down, be ready on the engine brake if I need to. No, I'm good. Oh, speed limit changes to 60 anyway. Not able to catch 60 kilometers per hour in 7th gear at full power, but slowing down, I got a downshift because we're going 50. Yeah, you really do feel the gradients on this. I guess it's a little bit more classic than I had originally believed. Or then again, I'm using kind of tall-ish gearing for this. It's a 410 final drive, and I was toying between the 410 or I think the next shorter one is the 433 on speeding. Okay. Alright, now I can get back up to 80. It's a shame that I wasn't able to get up to 80 on using the gravity to help me get up to speed, because now we're kind of like more or less tinily accelerating up this hill. Flat out. Okay, there we go. Let's get back up to cruise. Could rev it out a little bit in 7th gear. Now select top. Okay. Right. I forget what length of a trip we've got today, but I don't think it's that far. Well, let's just F6 and just take a look. Yeah, it's not far at all. It's only 2.5 hours. He's having a laugh, mate. Okay, so if I'm right, what's going to happen now is a nice gentle meandering cruise through Greece, but I suspect that there's something going on that's going to cause me to maybe change my speed. Yeah, it looks like I've been along this way. Yeah, but whether it was this, I think I was heading out of Athens. Yeah. So I think really thoughts on the MIDR engine so far. It's been a time since I've driven this. I designed and put them in fairly recently, but it feels like it's been weeks, and that's because I had my own road trip. I almost certainly used shorter gearing, and shorter gearing helps because the truck is a little bit more flexible, a little bit more forgiving when you make those wrong gears, which I do quite a lot, and it helps. You've got a bit more effective torque on the road. But a setup like this, I imagined that this kind of setup, so slightly taller gearing with nearly 400 horsepower, is perhaps ideal for a truck that's going to be doing a lot of motorway work, or auto route, or whatever the Greece calls its motorway, or its interstate. And so it's geared to do 80 or 90 kilometers per hour. And that's fantastic. You're doing, I mean, the revs are in the green as you look at the dashboard. It's not entirely necessarily accurate for this particular engine, but 1,000 to 1,700 is more or less what it's showing. And you're right in the green, and here's me exceeding 90 kilometers per hour, get back on that engine brake. But 90 is below 1500 revs. And so it's an efficient cruising speed. It's very comfortable at that kind of engine speed. But where the thing really suffers is like now, I've only got 1700 newton meters of torque. So we go up a hill and it just doesn't have the grunt or the power to keep it going. Now, I would not say this is terrible. And it's not got me wanting to check the definitions, make sure there's nothing weird going on with the engine definitions. But yeah, you can tell it's not the most powerful truck in the world. But I think for this kind of truck, and the Premium was really marketed as more of a day trip kind of truck, rather than the Magnum that was the long haul. So the cabin's possibly not as spacious, not as comfortable maybe, but also lighter. So you can get away with a lighter engine, in theory. Although sometimes you just need more power. Sometimes that's all we ever need is more power. But yeah, the game is running fairly smoothly. I'm shooting 70 frames a second on my little dashboard here, more or less. It doesn't feel that smooth to drive. I think that the frame pacing is not great, but it's doing okay. And I've capped my game frame rate to I think 72, and it will bounce off that from time to time, which is nice. So we're coming up to a hill. Let's see if we can hold on to 80 kilometers per hour this here. Nope. That's a big negative. It's having a go, but I'm going to have to shift down, I think. If it gets to about 71, I'm going to definitely shift. Oh, it might. Yeah, look at that. Okay. Maybe you can hear me, but it got down to 73, and now it's picking right back up. So it's not a complete lost cause. It's just it's not the most torquey setup. And when the history of Renault and Mack and Volvo is interesting, but Renault bought Mack. I think it was the early 1990s that transaction was concluded. One of the changes that the parent made was they used Mack engines in the Renault trucks. So the Mack V8, I think they had access to that before the full takeover. But the Mack V8, and of course the E7, the 12 litre, which was rebadged MIDR 12 litre, or just MIDR. Now, their torque curves in Renaults have peak torque showing at 1300 RPM, but when you look or study at the torque curve, it's nearly peak torque at 1200 revs. So it looks like they either changed a couple of things about the E7, or whether they used a slightly different setup. I don't know if it was fully electronic by that point. Brake. Pay attention to what's going on around you, David. Whether they were fully electronic by that point and they just changed the software setting, or more likely there was a mechanical difference between the two engines. Which was that? 39 euros, okay. Which causes this truck to just have a little less torque low down. But it's got a pretty broad flat curve. In fact, I think it's mechanically injected. I'll have to check my notes, but I think it's mechanically injected. Maybe it has a different head or a different camshaft or a different turbocharger. Who knows? Well, Renault and Mack. But either way, so Renault used Mack engines in their trucks for a time. And then when Volvo bought Renault, they essentially bought Mack at the same time because they were part of the same business. And these days, Mack engines are essentially reworked Volvo engines. And I know that a lot of Mack purists are shaking fists at this. It's not a true Mack. Well, maybe. I don't have an opinion there, but I do have an opinion of when GM bought Saab. So General Motors bought Saab, and they owned Saab for a time, and the last generation of Saab cars were not entirely rebadged GM products. So, not that I'm going to get too nerdy about this, but I owned a 2004 Saab 93 SS Sports Saloon in the UK, Sports Sedan in the US, which used a modified, a Saabified, if you will, set of components from GM. Now, what it actually had, it used a shortened chassis from the Vauxhall Vectra in the UK, the Opel Vectra, I imagine in Europe, and I don't know what it's called in the US, but that plan it's been used elsewhere. I've seen a Buick that looks like it's very similar. So it used an existing component that had been shortened. And it also uses its own specific set of engines that had been tweaked just a little bit. So they used the 2.2 Ecotec engine, but they made it a square design, if I recall correctly. I think they shortened the stroke to make it a 2-litre design, and threw on a turbocharger.
Keep left, and then turn left.
Now, how Saabified is the 2-litre Ecotec, the turbo? Well, I have not driven like for like Saabs, but what I will say is it was a good engine. I was very happy with my own Saab worked, and I had the entry-level turbocharged version. Now, was it a true Saab? It had a Saab interior, had a Saab modified engine and chassis, was very good in the snow, supremely comfortable, and of course we'll never know if Saab had remained an independent business how close that car would have been to what they would have designed. Maybe some of the interior might have been a little different, maybe the quality might have been better, but no, Saab wasn't badly put together. Renault, Volvo and Mack, I mean, we will never know.
And then keep right.
Thankfully, if I can set up the Mack engines according to what the book says and going on what they look like they drive, yeah, get to sample some of them.
Right, and then turn right. Turn right.
That was too soon a gear change. This does not, so far, seem like the kind of neighbourhood I'd be taking a luxury yacht to, but I was thinking like pretty much a mansion on a shoreline, but okay. It says stop a roundabout with a stop sign. Where are we? Are we back in Texas? Sorry, point of contention here. Roundabouts in Texas sometimes have stop signs because the natives don't know how to drive in roundabouts. I don't really know. It's to make them safer. The nice thing about roundabout is it helps the flow of traffic. The bloody stop sign doesn't. Shakes fist angrily. Okay, well, negotiated that roundabout. So if it's a roundabout with a stop sign, what does that make it? A stop about? Seems legit. Quick swig of coffee before I arrive.
Keep left, and then turn left.
Okay.
Turn left.
Down to second gear. Over here. This trailer steers by itself. I almost forgot how much more sophisticated the European trailers are, especially, and probably the trucks compared with the American ones. Now, that doesn't mean I prefer the Euro trucks, I just find them different. But there's a lot of refinements that the European trucks have that the American ones don't. And I, for one, would love it if Scania would start trying to sell their cab over here. I don't know whether they will and how successful it would be, but if Scania were to sell the cab over, of course, the reason why you might buy it is for the DC-16. And maybe they might just introduce their 770 horsepower version, or whatever the next one is that I'm sure will have more than 780, which is what Volvo have. Anyway, look at that. We managed to make it without crashing. Get my headlights off. Right, well, I talked an awful lot about nonsense in that video, or squeaked through it, but I'm happy enough with the trip. I think the truck did all right. I'm not unhappy with that. Let's see, what was it? 21,825 pounds. Okay, so it's not that heavy either. Right, let's see how well we did. Let's disconnect and look at the trip. Okay, so 213 kilometers and 73.2 liters. That's nearly 7 miles per gallon. 6.5 to 7 miles per gallon, which I think on balance is actually about right, because my driving is not. It's usual standard, and make of that what you will. But I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you got something from today's drive. And if you have, you know what to do down below in the comments. Just give me a nice thumbs up or something like that. That's always welcome. If you thought it sucked, go ahead and tell me precisely why, so maybe I can improve it next time, and obviously just wonders for my self-esteem too. Thanks so much, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.